Okay. Hi, I am just going to show everybody today just how to set up your bibliography on a LaTeX document. So let's take a peek. I think so. This is a document that Probin started. I believe he probably grabbed the IEEE template from ICRA, and the template for a conference article I think already has one method of doing the bibliography built in. So for instance, if you go down, you can see that there's this section for references. Sorry, they start the bibliography, and that starting the big bibliography adds this references title. And then they have each of the bibliography items as a bib item. And the first bib item is going to show up as item number 1. The second bib item is going to be item number 2, and so on. And so one way to do things would be to, put things in this particular order, and then realize which item number you're wanting to cite when you go to cite it in the bulk of your text. So for instance, let's go to the introduction. So he's wanting to cite references 1 and 2, which must be the first item in the BibTeX and the second item in the BibTeX. This is a lot more manual of a way, and it's much harder to change. So for instance, let's say you got done writing the entire document and you realized at the end that you needed to alphabetize all of your references because you wanted to submit somewhere where that was how they wanted their bibliography to be done, was that the paper that would be first would be the one whose first author's name came first in the alphabet, and then the bibliography item that would be last would be the one that had the first author with their name being last in the alphabet. So you would need to rearrange all of these references, which would mean that each reference now had a new number associated with it. And then you would manually have to go back into the bulk of the paper and say, okay, what used to be reference 1 is now a reference like 25 or something like that. And it can be extremely tedious to do that. The better way to do it is to let LaTeX handle everything about the bibliography for you. And so I'm going to tell you how to do that today. You can also make it even easier by using something like Mendeley that will export citations as a .bib file. So let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to first show you, I'm going to go into Mendeley. Mendeley Reference Manager is how I manage all of my references. It's where I collect all the PDFs of papers that I might like to cite. So you can, for instance, add new papers, files from your computer, go find a PDF of a document that you wish to cite, add it to Mendeley. And what Mendeley does that's really great is it will automatically search the paper for all the pieces of information that need to go into the citation. So for instance, it'll look at that PDF and it'll do its best, and it really does a pretty good job of pulling out the title, recognizing that it's a journal article. It'll put the list of authors here in this box. It will try to find the DOI, and basically any of these fields that it thinks it can fill out based on the PDF that you have uploaded, it will do so. And why that's great is that after you have uploaded all these things and it does all of this automatically for you, you can then export your list of possible references. So you would go File, Export All, BibTeX. And then I like to name it library because it's just the default of what it is. And you want to go save it somewhere that you can find it. So for right now, I'm probably just going to put it on my desktop, and I'm actually going to name it library example. And then I'm going to save it there, and it should save as a .bib file. Okay, so I've now saved a file that has all of the possible papers that I might want to reference. Now what I need to do is go back to Overleaf and I'm gonna upload that .bib file. So I've already had Probin do this for his bibliography, so I'm gonna show you with my example. Well, actually, I'll show you how to upload it, and then I'll use his actually. So what did I do? Let's cancel that. So I went to this upload button. I said select files, and now I'm gonna go find that .bib file that I just saved, which should be named library example. Your computer should recognize that it's also openable as a text file. So if you wanted to open it in a notebook, you could do that too, and you'd be able to read it like a normal bib file. So click it, hit open, it's gonna upload, and it's gonna put that right here. Now what I need to do is I need to tell Mendeley's bibliography, or I need to tell Overleaf where to find that .bib file. And I need to tell it to use that .bib file to create the bibliography. So I'm going to scroll down to the bibliography section here. Nope, that's where it talks about references. There we go. Okay, so one thing that needs to happen is there's actually a bibliography style a bibliography style document. I'm not sure if that has to be uploaded. I don't think it does. I think what you can do is just take this line of code and put it above your bibliography. That tells it, hey, I want you to format this bibliography according to IEEE standards. Then you want to say bibliography, not begin the bibliography, but you want to say bibliography, and then tell it where your library.bib file is. So I'm going to actually use Probin's this time, not mine that I just uploaded. So I'll say library.bib. Okay. And then I'm actually going to comment all of this out. Oof. Okay, so the shortcut to comment a big section of code, at least on a Windows computer, is Control // so that's the one with the question mark on the same key. So Control / will comment everything that you have highlighted. That's a useful one. And let me just check back at a previous document. I think that's all that needs to happen. Okay, so let's recompile this. And then what I need to do is figure out, so this number 1 is this G. Gurgley. It was written in 2003, and it's teleological reasoning in infancy. So where Probin has cited number 1, instead of putting in the number 1, I need to find out what is the article key for that paper within his .bib file. So what I've done is clicked on the library.bib, and then I hit Control F, and I'm going to search for that GRGELEY, and I'm going to see, no, obsessed with goals, that's not right. Teleological reasoning in infancy. Okay, so this is the section of the .bib file that is giving the reference for the one that he was trying to reference. And the key is this bit of text here. So I need to say, when I want to cite this entire article, I need to refer to it by this text. And so I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to the main tech here, our main file for the paper. And I'm going to do cite, and then that citation key that I just looked up, that Gurgley 2003. So let's see what happens here. So now it's going to look like nothing happened in the paper. It's going to say, here's this one, but it's going to put now one is that citation in the references section. So maybe a better way to show it, maybe we can do it a second time. I'm going to erase this 2 here for the second reference and recompile. And that 2 is going to go missing, right? So that number 2, that citation that he manually put in is citation number 2 is going to go missing. Now let's replace it with that cite. So I need to go back and see what was citation number 2. That was CISPRA, obsessed with goals. 2007. So let's go over here. I think that was this one. So this is the citation in the .bib file that he's trying to reference. So we need to refer to it as CISPRA 2007. I'm going to Control C on that key, go back to the main document, and replace that with a /cite, Control V, CISPRA 2007. Okay. And now I'm going to recompile, and it should show up with a 2 again. Okay, our 2 popped back up. And if I go look at our references, number 2 is now this second paper that he was trying to cite. So what it does is it automatically formats the reference. Okay, so it pulls the right pieces of information. So for instance, you need the first 2 authors first, and then you need the document title, and then you need the journal, the volume, the page number, the issue, and then the year. And it will automatically do that for you. And you can actually programmatically change that so that if you wanted to do something slightly differently, or if the journal or the conference you're trying to submit to wanted something slightly different about your references, you can programmatically tell LaTeX to make that one change to all of the references, so you don't have to manually change it. One thing that I do want to be careful about, though, is that the information in the .bib file is well formatted. So what I mean is we want to have some consistency about our references. So, and we want them to be like without capitalization errors. So I would prefer that article titles start with a capital letter, and this second one that we just looked at doesn't. So if I go back to the library.bib file and I look at that, I look at this reference and I look at the title, this O here needs to be capitalized. And also it's doing this, no, I think that looks okay. So now let's recompile, and we should be able to see. Oh, why is that being strange? I don't like these quotes here. Let's see if that does it. Okay. So for quotes, if you're going to do a single quote, you really need to use the, for the first quote on the left-hand side of what you're trying to quote, use, I'm not sure what it's called. It might be like a tag. It's the key that has the tilde on it. But you don't use Control to get the tilde. You just hit that key. It's kind of like a forward quote. And then at the end, you can use a regular single quote. Oh, that's so strange. It keeps uncapitalizing that O, which really bothers me. I wonder if it's trying to capitalize that apostrophe instead of capitalizing the O. Okay, this is a very strange example that is not normal. But I can fix that later. But basically all this shows is that you can go back to your library.bib and make changes to the information within the .bib file and then recompile, and it will show up appropriately in your references. Okay, so that should be the main idea here. The other thing is, okay, good. So one thing that I noticed that was showing up before I made this change to how Probin was doing his references was that the references were including the DOI, and generally we do not want to have the DOI show up. So actually when we put in that style guide, that IEEE bibliography style, I think that is what tells LaTeX, hey, don't include the DOI when you're creating your bibliography down here, which is good. Because in general, papers don't want, or at least the papers, the journals and the conferences that we're going to apply to, they generally don't want to see the DOI in your bibliography. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for now. Probably more LaTeX tips and tricks to come. Talk to you soon. Bye.